Because I bought a durian for my daughter, my mother-in-law called me a spendthrift. At the third update in the middle of the night, she held a contract and blocked the door of my bedroom. The prodigal girls know to spend my son's money. After signing this property division agreement, you will spend your own money. If you dare to use my son's penny, see you in the court. She didn't know that her baby son was unemployed half a year ago, and I was responsible for the family's expenses during this period. I glanced at the man hiding in the corner and wanted to speak but stopped. He held back his smile and whispered, "Then it's a matter of just one word. Whoever spends the other party will be compensated 10 times the amount of money." Where are high-quality novels? Taro and I Bobo brings you a full-text update of the wonderful story waiting for you. Sister-in-law, the text has begun. During dinner in the evening, Zhao Chengkai hesitated and said that his mother was coming to stay for a while. I frowned. His mother is not easy to get along with. When I was in confinement, I was going to hire a confinement nanny. When his mother heard that she didn't agree, she said that she wasting money and she had to take care of me by herself. As a result, I gave me some lard noodles every day. I was originally sensitive to my stomach and intestines. I couldn't eat this thing for 2 or 3 days, so I asked him to change it, but he said it was nutritious. He wanted to eat it during confinement. Then my mother heard about this and bought me a chicken from her hometown to send it to me. I thought it would improve the food, but it was still a bowl of white noodles that day. I asked him where the native chicken went, and he insisted that he didn't know. I endured the pain, got up and took out my mother's express box from under the bed and asked him what it was. He mumbled and pretended to be confused, saying that he had forgotten when he was old. I was too lazy to expose him, nor did I argue with him, but just asked him to do this in a while. Later in the evening, he brought a bowl of yellow soup and secretly called his son to the room. I took a few sips and felt something was wrong with the mother and son. Looking at the soup in this industrial seasoning category, it's like someone uses instant noodle seasoning to make a bowl of water, and he cheats you on beef soup. There is no oil star, and there is no piece of chicken. When I went into the kitchen, I found that there was no chicken essence in the chicken soup, but I had half of the bag of chicken essence empty. But I clearly watched him take the chicken into the kitchen. Strange thing. I was about to go in and ask him, but at the door of the room I heard him urging my son to drink quickly and not let others see it. This local chicken is not cheap. I took out the key, pushed open the door, and saw the mother and son hiding in the corner like a thief, one holding a bowl, mouth full of oil, the other holding a thermal bucket, looking at his baby son with a loving face. What a kind mother and son smile, it's so warm. The next day, I hired a confinement nanny. The nutritional meals are different every day, but the mother and son can only eat white water noodles forever. If you dare to protest, just say that this is the most nutritious. I still couldn't eat it back then. Then I found out that they were stealing other people's chickens and preaching their own small kitchen. Anyway, this is not the first time I have stolen it, so I should be quite skilled in the business. Within 3 days, he left in shame. Seeing me frowning, Zhao Chengkai evasively said, "This time my mother came here to stay for a few days and left soon. She said she wanted to come several times before, but I didn't let her go. If she refused, the villagers should pass it on to me." Gossip. I didn't say anything. Zhao Chengkai said again, "I promise that won't happen. My mother will definitely change it over the years." At this time, the daughter asked, "Will Grandma bring me a little duck?" During the Chinese New Year, she used small breads to prepare a large number of loyal duck boys in the countryside. After school started, she still missed them. She saved the bread every month and waited to go back to feed them during the Chinese New Year. Zhao Chengkai said, "Of course, the little duck in Grandma's house also misses his relatives very much, and he dreams of having fun with his relatives." When my daughter heard this, her eyes lit up, so 2 people, one big and one small, pulled my arm and shook it. "Please, let my mother and Grandma live for a few days." I touched my daughter's head lovingly, the ugly words are ahead. "If your mother makes trouble with me again, don't blame me for giving me face." Zhao Chengkai nodded like a smacking garlic. He has been unemployed for more than half a year and has nothing to do all day long. Anyway, he is idle. It is good to spend more time with his parents and be filial to him. There is another thing that must not be allowed to my mom knew I was laid off. He folded his hands together, "Please." The next day, on the way to school, I passed by a fruit shop. She stared at durian with her fingers and couldn't walk. When she arrived at the door, she raised her head and said to me, "The teacher praised me today." I smiled without saying a word. She shook my hand. "Mom, let's bring some fruit to Grandma, okay?" Life class, learn to enjoy the present. "Hey Mom, is that what you said used?" I had no choice but to say, "Okay, what fruit should I buy?" She immediately ran to the stall excitedly, pointed to the durian and said, "By this, let's invite Grandma to enjoy the delicious and stinky." My daughter and I both like to eat stinky things. She calls stinky tofu xiao chow and durian xiang chow. Xiaococoxio bought less because I thought it was unhygienic. Xiaococoxio hadn't eaten it for half a month, and I was a little hungry. I simply chose the biggest one to go home. His mother has arrived and is sitting on the sofa and talking to Zhao Chengkai. The daughter ran over excitedly with the bag in her arms. "Grandma, look at what Mom has brought for you." She was only a little taller than the table, and it was a little difficult to run with her, but it did not hinder her interest. Just now she was in the car, and she refused to put the durian down and kept holding it in her arms. "What smells so big?" The mother-in-law frowned and took the bag. "Durian is not cheap, right?" She looked out the receipt and almost screamed, "248. My God, it's so expensive. You can't afford it." For a moment, my daughter's expression was a little awkward. She stood there, stirring her hands, and looked at me at a loss. That pitiful look seemed to be asking, "Mom, did I do something wrong?" I hung up the bag. "Fortunately, I don't eat it every day. I'll eat it once a while to improve my life." I walked over and squatted down and pulled my daughter's little hand up and kissed her, and I kissed her for a long time and said, "Grandma will definitely like it, right?" The daughter nodded, her face full of flattery, and her eyes were full of expectation. My mother-in-law still had a stern face and put the durian on the coffee table. "Retreat quickly. Retreat quickly. Our family is not a rich man. How can we eat such expensive things?" My daughter's eyes suddenly dimmed. I didn't want to waste my time on this topic, so I turned around and asked, "Zhao Chengkai, is the meal ready?" Zhao Chengkai rubbed his hands. "I went to the station to pick up my mother in the afternoon. I didn't have time to do it when I got home just now." I nodded, took out my cell phone and prepared to order takeaway. There is a restaurant nearby where the grilled fish is delicious and our family of 3 loves it. At this time, my mother-in-law looked at me with her head tilted, her eyes wide open. "Did you let her cook?" Since Zhao Chengkai lost his job, she has taken the initiative to take care of housework, and our family has started the model of male lead and female lead and external. Besides, I have no complaints about Zhao Chengkai's unemployment. The current environment is not good. He worked hard before and had time to rest. It would be good to take this opportunity to take care of his health at home. The daughter misunderstood what her mother-in-law meant and immediately defended her father. "Dad is delicious in cooking, Grandma, don't be afraid." The mother-in-law stood up suddenly and said excitedly, "Your father works so hard every day, but let her cook? Is it reasonable?" After saying that, she stared at me, looking like she wanted to eat me. I glanced at Zhao Chengkai indifferently. He called and said, "Just eat occasionally, don't work hard." The daughter hurriedly held her mother-in-law's hand. "Grandma, I like the food my father cooks." I said, "Don't quarrel with people who can't communicate with you, it will waste your precious time." My daughter's heart trembled and no longer worried about grilling fish. "It's here. I'll get the bowl." The daughter shouted happily. The mother and son were having a meal, and the mother-in-law walked over with a bad face and looked around the table. The daughter thought she was greedy, so she hurriedly handed over the chopsticks. "Grandma, try it, it's so delicious." The old woman waved her hand and knocked off her daughter's chopsticks. "I won't eat it." "How much does this table cost? Money really won't live." My daughter was frightened. I became angry and gritted my teeth and said, "If you don't eat it, don't force me. My grandma doesn't like our food, just eat it myself." I pulled my daughter to my side. "Your old lady ate your meal from afar." When eating, no one talked and the atmosphere was suffocating. My daughter carefully snatched the meal, looked at me, and looked at the old woman. The old woman walked from the table to the refrigerator, took out a steamed bun, and ate it slowly. The daughter asked her grandma, "Do you really not eat it?" The old woman had been sneaking into the grilled fish on the table, but when she heard this, she turned her eyelids. "Eat? How much does it cost?" $110. The uncle who sells grilled fish knows me and gives me a 20% discount. "Oh, I won't count." Mom said, $110. "Do you know how long your father will earn? You just took 22 bites and your mother took 31 bites. Do you know how much sweat your father will sweat?" He actually counted how many times I picked up the dishes, which made me so angry. I said, "I bought this, my money is not as much as your son." He was even more confident. "Isn't your money also belonging to this family? Who is the head of this family? Isn't it still my son?" I turned my head and looked at Zhao Chengkai, who was pretending to be dead, and sneered, "Do you think so too?" The head of the family, Zhao Chengkai, waved his hand and went to coax his mother. Mom, what are you doing? Didn't Xian want to take you to have a sumptuous meal when you come? Try this. The old woman slapped the table and spitted. Did your money come from the strong wind? If I don't stare at it, I'll let this woman spend it. You can't tell it clearly after all, and speak to her. He completely lost his appetite and pushed the bowl. If you can't stand it, go back. This is my house, what are you leaving here? This is my son's house. Do you want to drive me away? No way. I can't stand you. The people in the city are spoiled and have bad habits. They spend my son's money and pretend to be rich. I can no longer bear it. I said it many times, this is my money, I earn it myself, I spend whatever I want, you care about me. My daughter was frightened and hugged me and cried, don't quarrel. Mom, don't quarrel, it's not good to quarrel. I missed my daughter, suppressed my anger, pointed at the old woman and said, say it again, if you want to stay, leave early, no one will keep you. The old woman looked at Zhao Chengkai and said, you can't control her at all? Zhao Chengkai became a turtle again and hurried into the kitchen with a bowl in his arms. You are going to wash dishes? A big man, what dishes are you washing? The old woman followed. Immediately, the sound of falling and beating came from the kitchen. It's so inconsistent. I've never seen any family that lets the pillars do housework. I have to serve you too at night, and even if you say it, people will stab you in the backbone. Have you ever had such a family in China for 5,000 years? My daughter was frightened and hugged in my arms, her shoulders shrugged. I was about to rush in and scold the old woman, but my daughter hugged me tightly and said tremblingly, Mom, don't leave, I'm afraid. I hugged my daughter into the room and coaxed her until she fell asleep. In the middle of the night, I slept soundly, and suddenly my face became cold and I saw a figure crawling into the room. I suddenly woke up, turned on the bedside lamp, and saw the old woman standing sneakily in front of my bed. What are you doing? The old woman was discovered and didn't hide it. She pressed the remote control with a gloomy face, and turned off the air conditioner with a beep. What are you doing? The air conditioner is not your money anyway, so don't feel sorry, right? I said, I paid the electricity bill, it's my money. Then I took out my phone and turned on the air conditioner. The old woman didn't believe it. Then where did my son's money go? Zhao Chengkai was still pretending to be asleep next to him. I woke up with a slap and he told his mother where the money went. Zhao Chengkai smiled embarrassedly and did not dare to speak. Maybe it was this dog slave look that aroused the old woman's desire to protect herself. He went to the living room to tinker for a while, and took a piece of paper to pat my bedside. You must have ruined my son's money. After signing this property division agreement, you will spend your own money. You are a prodigal girl. If you dare to use my son's penny again, see you in the court. I glanced at Zhao Chengkai, who was eager to speak but stopped, and signed the name without hesitation. Then let's agree that whoever spends the other party will be compensated 10 times more. I threw the pen, turned on the guest box, and turned off all the power in the guest room. I gave the electricity bill, don't use it. He didn't expect me to act so decisively and was stunned. The next day, I got up early and went to the guest room to see if the old lady had stolen the air conditioner. I told him that he wouldn't make these smart appliances at all, but he wasn't in the guest room. There is no balcony in the living room, nor. Finally, I found her in my daughter's room, and her fat body lies in the center in a large shape, squeezing her daughter in a small corner. I was so angry that I immediately hit him and woke him up. Get up. Get up. He shouted, what are you doing? I said, who asked you to come in? My daughter rubbed her sleepy eyes and said, Mom, it was me who asked my grandma to come in. Grandma said she was too hot to sleep. I sneered, you are so embarrassed to compete with the child for a position. She is used to shamelessness. She pretended that she didn't hear it and went to the bathroom to brush her teeth. I chased and snatched his water cup and poured water all over the floor. I'm giving him the water bill. Gripping his teeth and turning to the refrigerator to get the breakfast bread, don't touch the beef. Don't touch it. Take away your dirty hands. I bought them all. He tantrums, impossible. Why did you buy everything? Where is my son's money? I nude my mouth to the bedroom. Go and ask your son yourself. After breakfast, I took my daughter to school and drove to the company. As soon as I arrived at the workstation, I turned on my phone. Sure enough, in the surveillance in the living room, I saw the old woman opening the refrigerator with a scheming and moving things out frantically. It seemed that she was preparing to make a big meal for myself. I sneered, kill back now. When I went home and opened the door, I saw the old woman cooking a table of dishes, holding up chopsticks with a smile. Where did the thief come from? The old woman's face changed and she said, "Who is the thief?" "You are the thief." I said, "Didn't the thief steal my food?" The old woman seemed to have prepared herself and immediately said, "Why is it your meal? Open the refrigerator and see if you have any food." As soon as I opened the refrigerator, I immediately understood the source of his confidence. He took a little bit of each dish. Who would normally remember the amount of the meal? So this confusing account cannot be settled at all. I will give me $1 to shoot one on the table, and I am full of thoughts. Who doesn't have money? I don't care about you? He smiled. I laughed, too. I pressed his chopsticks and showed him the surveillance video in his surprised gaze. Your little cleverness is funny to say. I took away his money one by one, 50 yuan per pound of beef, 20 yuan per pound of chicken, 1 egg, and 7 yuan of green pepper. He smiled. Together, it seems that there are 4 pounds, it's quite good, can you eat it? Rounding it all means that 40 counts 50, 10 times more than 500. I counted 500 and put it in my pocket, and then said, "You can't live in this house for nothing. I just renovated this area and rented it for 3,000 yuan a month. I snatched it from a lot of people. I want half of your son. You no need to pay, so I have to give me 1,005. The rent is already bottomed out after 15, and it doesn't cost much, so I have to show off with me." I pushed back the remaining $5. The seasonings and water fees will not be charged this time. If nothing unexpected happens, this should be your last meal. Think carefully about how to survive with $5. Before leaving the house, I remembered another thing and turned to him and said, "By the way, all the appliances in the house are equipped with smart switches. I know how much electricity I used and whether anyone uses it. I know her. Yan Yang's phone, I can use it, you can use it 10 times fine. Technology changes life. I wish you a happy meal." The old lady was so angry that her face turned into a pig's liver. The days that followed were interesting. The mother and son could not make up a piece of 100 pieces together. They always refused to bow to me and kept putting water on the noodles every day. I just ate and drank spicy food in front of them. Today I barbecue, tomorrow I will order chicken and hot pot at home. After eating too much, I packed a few portions of huayangcai to relieve the greasiness. Family classroom. The child patted his round belly and said with satisfaction, "Mom, I am so happy. Love and food must not be disappointed." I said, "What do you want to eat? Just talk to Mom and buy it for you. We will be financially independent and we will get all the money." My daughter imitated me and raised her hands, "Take all our happiness." The quarrel reached the corner, and the dark mother and son. The old woman glanced at me and turned her back to suck her noodles. The daughter said, "Grandma, why don't you eat with me? Do you want to eat leftovers all day long?" The old woman said sinisterly, "It's because of you that I eat leftovers." The daughter immediately showed no tolerance. I said to my daughter, "Grandma is pitiful to eat leftovers, right?" The daughter nodded, "Dear, I don't want my grandma to eat leftovers, right?" The daughter nodded vigorously. "Then we don't have to eat leftovers in the future. Will grandma not have to eat leftovers?" Today, my eyes lit up and I gave me a thumbs up, "So that's fine. Mom, you are so awesome." The old woman was choked and the noodles spurted out of her nostrils. "Hey, play moral kidnapping with me? I won't even eat leftovers." By the way, the old woman asked Zhao Chengkai where the money went, but it was cleaner than her face. Zhao Chengkai said, "The company's performance is not good, and it has suppressed his salary for 3 months. Everyone is tightening their belts to live." My son was unreliable, so the old woman wanted to generate income by herself, so she picked up a lot of paper boxes outside, making the corridor smell bad. I endured it quietly for a few days, and then when she was happily packing the harvest, she directly asked the fire department to report it. The safety hazards came in 10 minutes. After criticizing and educating each car, all the paper boxes were confiscated. The old woman rolled around and ignored her. Apart from a wall, I silently lit up, very satisfied in the text messages return link. Today is another wonderful day. But the incident happened. The project I had finally finished that day and I could go home early. It was still early, less than 3 o'clock. I thought about picking up my daughter to go to the playground for a walk. Have another big meal. / This is too busy. All of them were asked to solve the problem in the school cafeteria. I guess the little guy has accumulated a lot of resentment. / Go home to change clothes / Just opened the door / But unexpectedly heard the voice of his daughter, "Grandma, I really know more / I checked the time again. It's really class time. That's right, backslash. I realized. Something strange happened. Backslash. I took her to the bathroom. I happened to see the old woman reach out and snatch the money from her daughter's hand, backslash. Spit, backslash. Counted, backslash. He sternly said, "Didn't your mother give you 50 every day? Why are there only 20 left today? What did you do with it?" Backslash. The daughter whispered, I bought a new notebook and shrimp strips, backslash. The old woman heard this. Collect the school bag on the ground. Unzip the zipper roughly, backslash. Sure enough, I saw a shopping bag. A notebook costs 5 yuan, are you willing to buy it? Backslash. She was even more excited when she saw the snacks. Your mom is a pussy. If you don't eat the noodles I made, do you want to buy this thing if you are trying to kill yourself? Do you think your dad is the richest man? Fuck your mom. That bastard type. I keep your dog's mouth so sensible. Backslash. The daughter wiped away tears with her hands and said sobbly, shrimp strips, I bought them for you. Dad said, backslash. The old woman slapped her daughter and slapped her. You are like your bastard mother, you look down on rural people, why are you showing off to me here? Your mother has a horoscope for me to wash. I won't put my shoes today after washing, don't think about eating. Backslash. My daughter is only 7 years old. Backslash. When I entered the door, I saw a bathtub on the ground. There are all kinds of shoes piled up inside. Backslash. The old lady was helping people wash shoes in the community a few days ago to earn extra money. I know this. But I didn't expect her to let my daughter wash it. The huge anger instantly crushed my reason. Backslash. I walked over and took the shoe brush. My daughter looked up and saw that it was me, and her face was shocked. Mom, why are you here? Backslash. I touched her head, you go back to your room and don't come out no matter what you hear. Backslash. My daughter ran away. Backslash. The old lady wants to run away, backslash. I reached out to block her, I want to cook for my son, he is going home soon. Backslash. She screamed, but she didn't dare to look at me. Backslash. I said, didn't you have a good hand? Backslash. She said, why is a girl so spoiled? I will feed pigs when I am as old as her, backslash. She didn't have time to finish the following words, backslash. Because I pulled her hair, I pressed her into the sink. Backslash. She screamed and struggled hard. I pinched her neck and slapped her a few times with my backhand, I'll kill you. Backslash. The old woman was beaten to the point of her mouth bleeding, and she still tried hard to reach out to grab my face. Backslash. I grabbed the water cup on the stage and smashed it hard at her teeth twice. Backslash. The effect is immediate, backslash. She didn't dare to move immediately and cried, I like to ask my daughter to brush her shoes, right? I'll brush it for you, backslash. I picked up the shoe brush and poked it into her mouth. Backslash. She refused to open her mouth, so I squeezed her chin away. What I hate the most is this mouth. He showed no mercy at all, and he pierced his shoe brush and stirred hard. Backslash. She rolled her eyes in pain, her body trembled, she wanted to scream but couldn't. A stream of blood came out from the gap at the corner of her mouth. You have such a young child to help you brush your shoes. You have such a big face. I thought you were so strong that you could make money to support yourself. What are you? Settling the score with me? Are you worthy? Backslash. She suddenly slapped the sink hard, as if she was stuck in her throat and could not breathe anymore. Backslash. I pulled out my shoe brush and kicked her in the back. Backslash. She hit the ground, gasped for more than a minute before she recovered, spitting out a large mouthful of blood, and 2 broken teeth were stuck inside. Murder. Help. Kill. Backslash. She shrank in the corner of the bathroom, screaming desperately, her mouth like a bloody hole. Backslash. I looked at her coldly with my hands in my arms. I smiled for a few minutes, my voice hoarse, but no one responded. Backslash. She was desperate and kept shrinking into the corner. Backslash. I squatted down, grabbed her hair, and slapped one by one. Backslash. I didn't speak, and no words could describe my anger at this moment. Backslash. My daughter born in 10 months of pregnancy, my daughter in my palm, my kind and lovely daughter, was actually called by her like a slave, and insulted. I wish I could scrape off her flesh with one knife. Backslash. The dull thumping sound echoed in the quiet bathroom. Backslash. The old woman was beaten to the point of blood and muttered something. Backslash. I was tired of fighting, so I stopped and asked her, what did you say? Backslash. I want to tell my son. She was so angry that she still held this hope. Backslash. I took out my cell phone and called Zhao Chengkai. Come on, call him back. Hello, come back soon. Backslash. The old woman suddenly had the strength again and cried to the phone, come back soon. Something happened to mom. Backslash. I'm at work, I can't stop, backslash. The surname Zhao. Stop pretending. Get back now. Your family is going to visit the grave. Still working. Backslash. After saying that, I hung up the phone, then called my dad and sent 5 words, I was bullied. Backslash. Zhao Chengkai arrived first. When the old woman saw her precious son, she immediately burst into tears. I killed someone. He killed someone. She beat her chest and stamped her feet. Backslash. When Zhao Chengkai saw his mother covered in blood, he was shocked. What happened? Backslash. The old woman came back with confidence and pointed at me, you kill him quickly. If he doesn't die, he will be a traitor. Backslash. Zhao Chengkai looked at me, my daughter was peeking next to me, but in fact he had been lying in the crack of the door just now, and when I hit the old woman, he was cheering quietly. Backslash. I carried my daughter over and looked at the little hands that were soaked in white. Do you know what your mother asked you to brush your shoes? Backslash. Zhao Chengkai's eyes flashed. Backslash. The old woman saw his hesitation and howled again. I asked the child to do more housework, isn't it for his own good? Backslash. I sneered, yes, so you let an 8-year-old child not go to school and serve you at home? Backslash. Zhao Chengkai said, then, you can't hit someone. Backslash. I said, what about that? Should I kowtow to your mother 3 times and thank her for her training? Or should I quit my job and serve you mother and son at home? Backslash. His mother muttered, it should have been like this. The male lead is the outside and the female lead is the inside, the tradition left by our ancestors, backslash. I kicked him in the mouth. Here, you don't have the most to say anything. Zhao Chengkai jumped up all of a sudden. Why do you look in front of me? I slapped Zhao Chengkai in the face. What are you? At this time, my dad and my brother finally arrived. 2 big men, carrying golf clubs, rushed in angrily, who bullies my family? Get out. I won't take you. They said halfway and got out. Maybe I saw the old woman lying on the ground with a bloody face, but I was stunned by me and covered her face with her at a loss. What you said on the phone is that you were bullied? My brother carefully asked me for verification. I tied my scattered hair with a ponytail and looked at Zhao Chengkai with a squinted look. It doesn't matter anymore. I just wanted to see your attitude. I'm very disappointed with you. Successful, hold my arm. What are you going to do? I shook his hand away and picked up my daughter. This matter is not over yet. Don't your family like to settle the score? Okay, then let's calculate the score. I drove my daughter straight to Zhao Chengkai's hometown, with my brother and my father following behind, and Zhao Chengkai and his son were pressing against him. The 2 are rural people and are most afraid of being gossiped about. The circle is so big that a little bit of trouble can be told for the rest of their lives. Before, I used them as my family and never completely broke up with them. Now that I have turned against each other, I have to make a complete move. In the car, my daughter asked me, Mom, I have been helping Grandma, why does Grandma still not like me? I said, kindness is a virtue, but being a kind person does not mean that you have to endure the bullying of others. A small class in life, if you are bullied by others, you must fight back hard, otherwise you will always be able to do so. Do you remember being bullied? The daughter nodded. When I arrived at the village gate, I pulled the old woman slowly towards her house. The abnormal behavior immediately attracted the attention of the elderly in the village. They surrounded each other in groups and whispered, isn't this the Zhao family's daughter-in-law? What's wrong? Something big happened. Look at his mother-in-law, his face was covered with blood. It's so amazing, ah. His mother-in-law said last month that she wanted to go to her daughter-in-law to show off her power, but why is it going back on the other side now? The old woman's head was buried in her neck, shivering without saying a word. I grabbed her neck and said, old woman, you were beaten like this by me. Why don't you scream now? Do you know it hurts? Zhao Chengkai said, what are you doing? He was not stupid at first, but now his hands are controlled by my brother. This posture should be as good as possible. What are you doing? I want to ask you, my God. I said, he wants to settle the score with me, so let's make it clear. For the past 6 months, you have paid for your food, drink, clothing and use. Now I want a penny for your family. Spit out a lot. While he was talking, he had already arrived at his doorstep. I pulled out the key from the old lady's pocket and pushed open the door. What caught my eye was a massage chair. When Zhao Chengkai said that his mother's back was not good, I bought this one and asked someone to send it to him. I just didn't expect that I always regarded his family as a human being, but they only regarded me as easy to bully. I walked into the kitchen, carried an axe out, and then slashed at the massage chair, with wires exposed and sponges flying around. Zhao Chengkai wanted to come over to stop me. As soon as he took a step forward, I pointed at him with an axe, "Get back." Then he didn't dare to move. At this time, the old woman's face was full of pain and tears flowed. I sneered and continued to smash the fry at home, refrigerators, color TVs, washing machines, and rice cookers. Soon, his family was in a mess. I found a chair that I had not had time to smash and sat down to rest, and put one foot on the broken coffee table and the other step on the microwave. "It's a sin, it's a sin." The old woman broke free while my father was not paying attention and stamped her feet in pain. The onlookers were even more curious about what happened and that they would make such a big deal. The old woman pointed at me with red eyes and cursed, "You bitch who went out to kill a car. If you dare to treat your elders like this, you will go to the 18 levels of hell if you die." She relied on the number of people now, and thought I would not dare to do anything to her, and became domineering again. I silently held the handle of the axe tightly and said lightly, "You try pointing at me again." She immediately put down her arm and hid behind the person. I cleared my throat. "When you hit my daughter, you should have thought that today will happen. Whether I die, go to hell or go into the oil pan, I don't care, but as long as I'm still alive for one day, you can't think about it. Old guy, a rectum is connected to the brain, and the brain is either shit or water. If my daughter doesn't want to study and ask her to brush your shoes, how dare you do such a thing? Do you really think that our family is dead? Turn off my air conditioner at home, don't let me eat, and have the face to settle the score with me? I'm spending on your son at home. He has been unemployed for more than half a year, and I am also raising you. What qualifications do you have to interfere with me? Who can't do it again?" After scolding this, he exhaled half of his anger and suddenly felt refreshed. The onlookers also learned about it, and none of them spoke to his house. "Your child is only 7 or 8 years old, right? What do you think if you don't study for your child? Yes, what era is now? Isn't you still studying for girls? It's not like us at that time, like you, who didn't graduate from elementary school, and someone wants his old man, didn't he want him?" After an excuse to go out to work more than 10 years ago, I still refused to come back. It turns out that there is still this past incident. I raised my eyebrows. It's an unexpected gain. The old woman was poked into her heart, her face flushed, and she wanted to escape, but there was a crowd at the door, and I was holding an axe in front of me. I couldn't walk anywhere. I could only squat on the ground and covered my face and accept everyone's ridicule. At this time, Zhao Chengkai came over, took away the axe, and threw it on the ground. "You beat me and scold me, can this matter be overturned?" I looked at her, as if I was looking at a stranger. "Divorce." She widened her eyes and said excitedly, "I did nothing wrong, why do you want to do this?" I shook my head and said, "It's because you did nothing. When your mother wants to settle the score with me, you did nothing. When your daughter was beaten by your mother, you did nothing. Since you like to pretend to be dead so much, you like to pretend to be dead, it's better to pretend to be the end than to be a person." My eyes were red. She shouted, "Then what can I do? On one side is my mother and on the other side is my wife, and the palms and backs of hands are flesh. I'm stuck in the middle. You are not a human being. Have you ever thought about my feelings?" He squatted on the ground and cried, "My mother is so old and she will leave in a few days. So what's wrong with you letting her?" I looked at her and remembered that the last time he squatted in front of me was when he proposed. At that time, she said, "Marry me, I will definitely protect you. You still don't understand what I hate about you." I said, "I don't mind you losing your job or you rest at home, because I always think that home is a shelter, a backing, and a way out. As long as people's hearts are together, you can overcome any difficulties. I want a tight one. A small family that is hugging each other is not a father who indulged his mother to hurt his daughter, nor a husband who was indifferent to watching his wife be bullied. So, you are not worthy of being this father or my husband." After saying that, I shook Zhao Chengkai's hand away, but he couldn't hold it. "I'll pull my daughter." I said, "Don't you like little ducks? Dad bought you a lot of little ducks." You go and persuade your mom. Dad knows that he is wrong and will definitely correct it. My daughter looked at me and Zhao Chengkai, and slowly shook her head. I don't like little ducks, I like mom. I don't want little ducks, I just want mom. Dad doesn't care about mom, so mom doesn't want dad anymore. Dad bent down and picked up Qingqing. Good boy, go home with my uncle. We squeezed through the crowd, and Zhao Chengkai shouted behind us, is it really not a chance? My pace is constantly. The old lady said, go and chase, why are you still standing there? Zhao Chengkai slapped her with his backhand and screamed. It's all because of you. On the way home, the dusk was shining and the lights were bright. I couldn't help but remember that when I first graduated from college, it was also like this. Zhao Chengkai rode me on an electric car and drove through the streets and alleys. He pointed to the community still under construction by passing by. I have to work hard and I will definitely settle down in the city. I put my arms around his waist and said, I'll be with you. I have always understood his hard work and always believed that the future of two people should be created together. I have never sought a life of glory and wealth. All I want is a stable and happy family. But, even if she can't stand in front of me, why can't she even stand behind me? Mother. My daughter reached out to hold me, tears in the corners of my eyes. Snuggled tightly in my arms. Let her go through the past and look forward to life. I hugged her little body tightly and looked forward. The whole text is over. The last sentence of the original text is not smooth and has been deleted.